Phase 1 Bukit KAYU HITAM ICQS opens today. Independent Singapore apologizes for misleading the public. Good evening, I'm Jessica Lee. Welcome to News on 2. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi today announced that Phase 1 of the new heavy vehicles complex at the Bukit KAYU HITAM Immigration, Customs, Quarantine and Security, or ICQS, involving vehicles entering and leaving Thailand and Malaysia, has begun its operations today. He made the announcement after chairing the high-level committee meeting on ICQS security at Bukit KAYU HITAM in Kedah today. The opening of the heavy vehicle complex involved 60% of the development components on Phase 1, while the remaining 40% comprising the light vehicle complex, operational and administrative office, as well as public amenities. Datuk Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid said the new complex has doubled its capacity in terms of inspection lanes and is equipped with enforcement applications such as cargo scanners, a weigh bridge and a quarantine centre for animals and plants.
5 jabatan serta agensi yang terlibat telah diarahkan untuk melakukan operasi sepenuhnya 100% pada 1 November 2017. Artinya penyerahan 100% ICQS oleh Tergas Jaya kepada Kerajaan Malaysia akan dibuat pada 31 Oktober 2017.
The full handing over of the new 425 million ringgit complex by the developing company Syarikat Northern Gateway Infrastructure Sdn Bhd to the Malaysian government will be carried out later. On November 1st, operations at the ICQS would be carried out for 20 hours a day, while in January 2019, operations would be carried out fully for 24 hours a day. Now, Singapore-based news portal, The Independent Singapore, that ran a report alleging lateness in response and withholding of treatment by Johor medical authorities on a Singaporean who had met with an accident there, has apparently removed the online article, replacing it with a brief apology. The link to the report titled 25-year-old Singaporean dies after Malaysian hospital demanded cash payment before treatment, published on August 31st on The Independent, was found today to show the heading, "We're sorry." It was accompanied by a notice from the publisher that read, quote, "We unreservedly apologize to the parties concerned for the anguish and distress this incident has caused," end quote. This is believed to be the response from the Independent Singapore to the Health Ministry's reaction to the article. The ministry said it would submit an official letter to the Singapore government on its dissatisfaction over the Republic's online news portal, which published a baseless report pertaining to the country's healthcare services and medical personnel. Its Minister, Datuk Sri Dr. S. Subramaniam, said yesterday that the letter would be submitted in the near future after discussing the ministry's legal team and the Foreign Ministry. Now, one of the biggest challenges of Hajj, besides adhering to the requirements and conditions of its related rituals, is how the pilgrimage tests the pilgrims' emotions. Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Dr. Ashraf Wajdi Dusuki, said the hot weather, cramped space and limited amenities demand that pilgrims have a great deal of patience and consideration for others. Speaking to Malaysian media after visiting Tabung Haji's Shishas Hospital in Mina, Saudi Arabia, Datuk Dr. Ashraf said the government had tried to fulfill demand for more Malaysian Muslims to do the Hajj. He, however, said the pilgrims must understand that the Hajj quota is limited, as the geographical area to perform Hajj is also limited.
Apabila kota dinaikkan, kita kena faham juga sempadan Mina dan sempadan Arafah tidak pernah berubah, kerana itulah sempadan yang ditetapkan oleh syarak daripada zaman Rasulullah sehingga sekarang. Dan atas asas itu kemah pun adalah sama, kerana kemah kita adalah kemah yang diperuntukkan oleh Kerajaan Arab Saudi berasaskan allocation yang telah dibuat peringkat awal. Jadi kemah tidak berubah walaupun kota meningkat. Jadi keluasan kemah itu kekal sedemikian, dan sudah tentulah dia akan mewujud keadaan yang tidak selesa dan sebagainya. Lepas tu kita amat mengharap supaya jemaah kita di sinilah ujian kesabaran yang tinggi.
The number of Malaysian pilgrims in the Holy Land for Hajj this year is 42,200 according to the latest head count compared to the 30,200 earlier reported. Meanwhile, he said the number of deaths has increased to 24 as at Saturday from 14 before Wukuf at Arafah and Mina. So far this year's Hajj season, 841 pilgrims were warded at Tabu Haji's hospitals and clinics, while 121 were sent to Saudi hospitals for medical treatment. 5 non-governmental organizations or NGOs held an Aidil Adha Korban ceremony at Kampung Tiong Dalam, Kota Baru, Kelantan today. The program, which was jointly organized with the Kelantan Darul Naim Media Club or Kemudi, saw 10 cows and 4 goats slaughtered. Program Chairman Dr. Wan Ahmad Karsani Wan Ismail said one of the objectives of the Korban was to strengthen ties between local residents. He added that the meat were later distributed to some 1,000 locals, mostly the underprivileged and elderly.
Dengan penyatuan program kita pada hari ini, objektif kita untuk menyatukan rakyat negeri Kelantan, umumnya rakyat Kelantan, alhamdulillah objektif kita sampai.
Dr. Wan Ahmad Karsani said the recipients are from several villages, including Kampung Tiong Pulau Gajah, Kampung Tunjong and Kampung Limau Manis. He also said the program was the second organized by the 5 NGOs, adding that most of the NGOs which took part in today's program were bikers from the Kelantan State Bikers Association. Traffic flows through Jalan Kuala Krai to Gua Musang in Kelantan and Gua Musang to Kuala Lipis, Pahang have been reported to be still under control during this Aidil Adha season. Now, it is said that this was due to better planning made by travellers who do not want to be stuck for long hours in traffic when they make their way back to Kuala Lumpur after the long weekend break. Despite the additional public holiday on Monday announced by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak after Malaysia topped the medal tally in the recent 2017 SEA Games, some travellers chose to return to KL earlier to avoid heavy traffic. Some are also using the Waze application to find recommended alternative routes to their destinations.
Mula sesak daripada Kuala Krai tu lah. Sebab jalan tu kan sempit kan. Jalan daripada situ lah. Kalau daripada Kuala Krai ke Gua Musang tu lancar lagi lah. Tapi kereta dah bertambah banyak masuk kerja. Jadi hari ni kita merancang untuk balik awal sikit lah. Pada balik malam, itulah takut jam lagi sesak.
Saya betul dari Bunduk Payung pukul 7 pagi. Tapi buat masa sekarang jalan clear lah. Mungkin lepas ni tak clear kot. Esok mungkin lagi jam lah kot sebab lama lagi.
The number of vehicles coming out of Kelantan through Gua Musang is expected to increase until tomorrow night. Residents of the Limbang district in Sarawak were shocked today when they came across a 5-meter-long crocodile crawling its way around town. Now, it was believed that the reptile lost its way from its usual habitat during a high tide following a heavy downpour earlier. Limbang District Fire Chief Edmund D. Mahai Ambo said the reptile, estimated to weigh about 1 ton, was spotted by the public at around 7:35 a.m. near the Limbang Housing Westlake Centre. A team of 8 personnel from the Limbang Fire Station was quickly dispatched to the scene to subdue the crocodile. They were assisted by volunteer firefighters from Seberang Kedai, Pangkalan Madang and Kabima, as well as the police and civil defence personnel. The crocodile was thereafter lifted into the back of a lorry before being handed over the Sarawak Forestry Corporation for further action. A man suffered burns on his body when 3 blocks of workers' living quarters and a workshop were destroyed in a fire at Jalan Lubuk Graji, Ulu Julau, Ulu Pakan, Sarawak this morning. According to Cebu Fire and Rescue Department Chief Abdul Muttalib Rashid, upon receiving a distress call at 10:09 a.m., the department immediately dispatched 2 fire engines, an emergency vehicle, together with 16 firefighters from the Bintangor and Sarikei fire stations to the scene. It was located approximately 50 kilometers from Bintangor. Based on preliminary information obtained from witnesses at the scene, Abdul Muttalib said the fire was caused by a leaked can of paint thinner, which was stored in a room near the workers' living quarters. Coming up, has additional passenger airline insurance to be reviewed. Now, the Ministry of Transport is prepared to review the need for the national airline to offer additional insurance to passengers should there is a demand from stakeholders. Now, however, Transport Minister Datuk Sri Leow Tiong Lai noted that such a policy must be scrutinised before it is implemented, as it would involve costs. Datuk Sri Leow added that at present there was no urgent need for the national airline to offer the additional insurance, and that it is currently an option for passengers who want to have additional protection.
Sebenarnya sekarang semua traveller yang menggunakan airline yang sedia itu memang dah ada insurans dia. Memang all insured. Pak kalau dia nak buat tambahan travel insurance, nak travel ke suatu negara with high risk, or yang dia kata dia nak tambah, it's up to individual untuk menambah insurans tersebut. But I don't have a report on request from any airline.
He said this after attending the high-level meeting on Bukit KAYU HITAM's Immigration, Customs, Quarantine and Safety Complex, ICQS, at Bukit KAYU HITAM in Kedah. Mass Rapid Transit Corporation Sdn Bhd, MRT Corp, announced that digging works for the underground tunnels for the Sungai Buloh Serdang Putrajaya, or SSP line, will begin in the first quarter of next year. According to MRT Corp Strategic Communications and Affairs Director Datuk Najmuddin Abdullah, the 13.5-kilometre undertaking would begin at Jalan Ipoh and end at Bandar Malaysia Selatan in Kuala Lumpur. Dato' Najmuddin added that works will commence once they receive 2 of 4 tunnel boring machines, or TBM, in November and December. The remaining 2 TBMs are expected to arrive next year. The 4 variable density machines were currently undergoing factory acceptance tests at Heron Neck Tunnelling Machinery Company Limited in Guangzhou, China. 12 TBMs would be used to construct the underground tunnels, of which 8 were earlier used for the Sungai Buloh Kajang MRT project. The proposed SSP line is a mega project costing 32 billion ringgit, which involves a 52.2-kilometre alignment covering 37 stations, including 11 underground. The project is currently 12.05% complete and is scheduled to be fully completed in 2022. Johor Barisan Nasional is still assessing candidates who will be contesting in the coming general election, or GE14. Now, this includes existing candidates who have previously contested in GE13. According to Johor BN Chairman Datuk Sri Muhammad Khalid Nordin, the candidates would be assessed through his performance and his acceptance in the community.
Kita belum muktamad, tapi kita kaji nama-nama yang sedia ada dari segi penerimaan, prestasi dan sebagainya. So nak katakan dah ada narai itu belum, masih lagi sedang evaluate setiap yang ada.
Datuk Sri Muhammad Khalid, who is also Johor Menteri Besar, did not rule out the possibility of several new faces during GE14. He was met after officiating the Siang Lee Youth Association in Johor Bahru. And still on Johor, the state government said it will reward incentives for all athletes from Johor who contributed to the medal tally at the 2017 SEA Games. Menteri Besar Datuk Sri Muhammad Khalid Nordin said the incentives include 4,000 ringgit for gold medalists, 2,500 ringgit for silver medalists, and 1,000 ringgit to athletes who obtained bronze. Datuk Sri Muhammad Khalid added that all athletes from Johor will receive 1,000 ringgit incentive as an appreciation for their excellent performance displayed, which led to Malaysia becoming the overall champions at the International Biennial Games.
Kita memang ada garis panduan bagi mana-mana atlet yang datangnya daripada Johor. Jika mereka berjaya, dia ada dia punya kadar. So kita akan tengok itulah, kita akan meneliti.
A total of 55 athletes who took part in the recently concluded SEA Games were from Johor, who contributed 18 golds, 17 silvers and 7 bronzes. The Human Resources Minister, Datuk Sri Richard Riyad Jaim, is currently leading Malaysia's delegation to the 4-day 21st World Congress on Safety and Health at Work held at Marina Bay Sands in Singapore beginning today. The ministry in statement said that Datuk Sri Richard received a personal invitation from his counterpart from Singapore, Lim Swee Say, to attend the Congress. At the Congress, he will make an intervention to support the ASEAN Labour Minister statement on improving occupational safety and health for sustainable economic growth. Datuk Sri Richard is also expected to share the Malaysia's Occupational Safety and Health Master Plan 2016 to 2020, an active role played by Malaysia in the implementation of the ASEAN Occupational Safety and Health Network, ASEAN ISHNET, Plan of Action 2016-2020, and ratification of Promotional Framework for Occupational Safety and Health Convention 2006 number 187 on June 7th, 2012. Furthermore, he is expected to hold several bilateral meetings with his counterparts to discuss issues of mutual concern and interest, including conducting a visit to the Ministry of Manpower in Singapore. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak said Malaysia echoes the call by United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres for Myanmar security forces to seek holistic approaches towards addressing the crisis in Rakhine State. Datuk Sri Najib, in a Twitter and Facebook posting today, said that the dire situation facing the Rohingyas must be alleviated for the good of Myanmar and for the region. The UN Secretary General had earlier expressed deep concern over reports of excessive use of force during operations conducted by Myanmar security forces in Rakhine State. He urged restraint and calm to avoid a humanitarian catastrophe. The report said that the Myanmar crackdown came after last week's attacks on Myanmar security forces by Rohingyas, a Muslim ethnic minority living on the western coast of the Buddhist nation. That concludes this evening's edition of News on 2. In our top story, Independent Singapore apologises for misleading public. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Jessica Lee. Thank you for watching.